What's up, Taiwan? I'm Eric Gao, bringing you the news from here in Taipei. We begin today with Typhoon Kong-Rey, which has made landfall in Taiwan's south. Dramatic footage from across the country shows the strength of this rare late-season storm. One video appears to show a tornado moving across the eastern county of Hualien. Kong-Rey is the largest storm to impact Taiwan since 1996, and it's forced the entire main island and all the outlying islands to suspend work and classes. Over 500 international and domestic flights have been canceled. Taiwan's Emergency Command Center is warning that the most severe weather conditions are expected throughout Thursday afternoon and evening. Sweeping in from the southeast Thursday morning, Typhoon Kong-Rey is currently positioned directly over southern Taiwan. The storm is expected to move northwest across the country over the course of Thursday afternoon and evening, eventually weakening and heading north across the Taiwan Strait on Friday. Now we head first to Ricklout in Taitung, where the typhoon has made landfall.
As Typhoon Kong-Rey makes landfall, the city centre of Taitung is experiencing some of that storm's most extreme weather. Gusts here are reaching up to 150 kilometres an hour. Those winds bringing down trees, knocking over motorcycles, ripping parts off buildings across the city centre. On the coast, we've seen waves reaching up to 8 and even 10 metres high. And this is also a big agricultural centre. Just outside of the city, we've seen fields flooded, banana plantations with all the trees knocked down by those winds. The government here has closed schools and offices for the day. They've been warning everyone to stay indoors, and they've put emergency services on the highest alert. Earlier, we spoke to people that had to brave the storm and go out.
很大风。
你会害怕吗？你会害怕吗？
其实也挺害怕的。
我害怕会跌倒，会踩到，因为我们还是要上班。对，有些怕上班会不方便。
这个不会习惯，这不能习惯，大家会很怕的，不可能习惯的。但是大家会先做好准备。
Taidung's county government is reporting that there's already been a handful of injuries. As many as 1,000 people have been forced to leave their homes, and 10,000 homes have been left without power. This area is set to continue to be battered for the next few hours as the storm moves inland. The full extent of the damage may not be evident for some time. Rick Lowett, Brian Wu and Chris Ma in Taitung for TaiwanPlus.
Now, it's not just southeastern Taiwan bearing the brunt of Kong-Rey. The typhoon is wreaking havoc all along the eastern coast. Tiffany Wong joins us live from Yilan in the northeast of the country. Tiffany, how are things where you are?
Hi, Eric. We're in Wushigang Harbor here in Yilan County, and this is usually a popular surfing spot. But as you can see, nobody is out on the waves today. That's because of Typhoon Kong-Rey. It's brought in waves up to 7.2 meters high, as well as wind speeds over 100 kilometers per hour. There's also reports of flooding in the streets, as well as rainfall in the mountainous areas up to 1.2 meters high over the past 24 hours. Now, because of just how strong this wind and rain is, the county has even stopped its public buses since this morning. And this area is also known for its fishing industry. So last night, they grounded some 275 fishers, as well as evacuated 400 people from their homes, just trying to make sure everyone is as safe as possible. Now, county officials are expecting the storm to pass over throughout today and leave around tomorrow morning. But until then, this is still a landslide-prone area. They're expecting even heavier winds and rains throughout the day, and they're hoping that this unseasonable storm will just pass by quickly, leave as little damage as possible so that everyone can just shake it off and get back to life as normal.
Thanks for that, Tiffany. Stay safe out there. That was Tiffany Wong reporting live from Yilan. Now, Kong-Rey is causing further damage in areas that have already suffered from other disasters this year. But with the intensity of this typhoon, President Lai Ching-te is already promising help for storm victims. John Van Trieste reports.
Rock slides, mudslides, and flooding. Hualien County on Taiwan's east coast has seen plenty of all three over what's been a rough typhoon season. And even now, at the end of October, it's not over as Typhoon Kong-Rey barrels straight into the country. Trains are shut, and in some areas, roads are washed out too.
In
the county's rugged interior, rock slides have hit homes too. Residents of at least 2 indigenous villages in Hualien County's mountains have had to evacuate. There were similar scenes in many areas as schools and businesses nationwide shut for the day. As the typhoon landed, other transport services, like parts of the Taipei Metro, shut down too. And over 200 flights were canceled from Taoyuan International Airport. Meteorologists say this is not a typhoon to be taken lightly.
台湾山顶气象站测得每秒58.2公尺的惊人阵风，也打破在2021年圆规台风15级强阵风的记录。
The military is not taking chances. It's wrapped up a week of drills early and is shifting troops to disaster relief. And at a virtual meeting with local officials across the country, President Lai Ching-te said it's already time to start thinking about recovery and reconstruction.
我们在离灾、防灾、救灾展现了我们的效力，但是在后续的灾害复健工作，同样的要做到完，这是一个动作这是一个动作。换句话说，我们中央跟地方灾害应变中心要兼顾灾后的复健工作。 让国人能够迅速恢复正常的生活。
And Lai said that means not just physically rebuilding damage, but also economic relief for farmers who face ruin from the latest in a string of powerful typhoons to hit the country in what's been a stormy year. Ethan Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
We'll be bringing you more coverage of Typhoon Kong-Rey later today. Stay tuned for that. Now, with less than a week until the U.S. presidential election, the tight race has Kamala Harris and Donald Trump fighting for swing states. Both candidates held rallies in the crucial battleground state of Wisconsin on Wednesday. Harris called her opponent unstable and obsessed with revenge, while Trump hit back at President Joe Biden's comment that seemed to call Trump supporters garbage. A CNN poll shows Harris with a slight edge over Trump in Wisconsin and Michigan, but in Pennsylvania, the two are neck and neck. So in just a few days, Harris could be making history as the first female president of the United States. At a time of deep divisions, some local politicians and citizens hope that it will be her who rises to the top to unite the country. Joyce Dunn reports from New York.
New York State Senator Yilan Chu is feeling hopeful about the upcoming U.S. elections. An immigrant from Taiwan, the former journalist is the first Asian American woman elected to the over 200-year-old state Senate, and she believes the U.S.'s reputation as the leader of the free world needs a Kamala Harris win.
Absolutely. About time for us to elect a woman president. She's not going to just become a leader of the United States. She's a leader of the world, and that's a value we need to share with the whole world. How we protect our democracy, how we amplify the freedom.
Chu represents predominantly immigrant neighborhoods in Brooklyn, and the beauty of the community, she says, comes from its diversity.
It's the center of the universe.
Center of the universe.
That's how I introduce. This is center of the universe. I represent Brooklyn.
But diversity and immigration are points of contention in these elections. And with most Americans perceiving the country's politics as divisive and polarized, many are looking to the next president of the United States to close that gap. Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris has vowed to be that leader, vowing compassion and understanding against Republican candidate Donald Trump's rhetoric of fear and hate.
We are not going back. We are not going back.
The California-born daughter of Indian and Jamaican immigrants, the 60-year-old Harris has broken barrier after barrier. She went from serving as California Attorney General to Vice President of the country. Now she stands a chance at becoming the first woman and first South Asian American president of the United States. It's a historic feat that Harris has not focused on in her push for the White House. Instead, Harris has spent her campaign speaking to voters' urgent concerns like the cost of living. She's pitched policies like building more affordable housing and cutting the cost of groceries, all to create an opportunity economy where people, regardless of their circumstance or background, can benefit from social mobility. But unlike in New York, a Democratic stronghold, Harris remains locked in a dead heat against Trump in decisive battleground states, her supporters remaining optimistic that she will nonetheless prevail come Election Day.
We need her. She's the one for this moment.
Sure, it might be uncomfortable. She is a woman. She is African American, Asian descent, but I feel like Asian culture and African American culture are like very mainstream parts of American culture now. So I do think people are ready for her in a way maybe they wouldn't have been ready 20 years ago.
While voters in this blue state are more willing to embrace Harris, academics say it'll be tougher to sway conservative voters across the country and overcome deep-rooted sexism.
The United States just has a really difficult job of seeing women in these roles because they have been so heavily masculinized. So the way that we talk about the framers of the Constitution, we call them our founding fathers. The way that we talk about our president is the father of the nation, right? Like these are very gendered terms that many people have a hard time thinking about women in these positions. Perhaps this is the right time for it.
The U.S. government has been becoming more diverse. The number of women in Congress is at an all-time high, with 153 women, about 28% of all members. It's also the most racially and ethnically diverse pool of lawmakers in the country's history. For local politicians like State Senator Chu, the key is to pass the torch onwards.
I'm the only woman senator, Asian woman senator in the whole state, 248 years now. It is my mission to make sure our next generation, they have the opportunity, they have the platform, they have the training, be able to be ready for when the opportunity is there, when we need a new leader.
It's the same message as Kamala Harris's. She is already the first woman to hold the vice presidency and now potentially the top office, and says she will not be the last, pledging to ensure that the United States keeps its spirit as a place of possibilities. Luffy Lee and Joyce Sen in Brooklyn, New York for TaiwanPlus.
We'll be checking in with our teams on the ground in the U.S. all the way through Election Day on November 5th. Tune in daily for those reports. Samsung says it will focus on production of AI chipsets to increase profits after its chip business suffered a 40% drop in profit from the last quarter. The chip giant reported a total third quarter profit of $6.6 billion, down from $7.5 billion in Q2. Competitors TSMC and SK Hynix reported high earnings from AI chip sales to NVIDIA. Samsung issued a rare apology for its low earnings in early October. Thanks for joining us here on What's Up Taiwan. Visit our website to get more of our reports and follow us online to get the latest updates. Finally, we leave you with more footage of Typhoon Kong-Rey hitting the East Coast. I'm Eric Gao. Take care, and I'll see you later on TaiwanPlus News.
过人生的话，你发现说，我们大部分都是爱美的。
我自己少遇见一朵花，我可能就不是这个样子。
开始思考什么叫做一个本土性，
大声的唱出来说我是台湾人。
In the face of adversity, the power of truth.
A roadmap for a just and open world, charted by the freest country in Asia.
Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
TaiwanPlus News, a voice of freedom in Asia.